What's up, everybody? It's your boy King Quarry here to give my final thoughts on the good, the bad, and the ugly of X-Men 97. I figured with me still getting responses to my X-Men Evolution video, why not give my thoughts on 97 now that it's over? Please hit me with a like, a sub, tell a friend, give me a comment on what you thought about my take or how you liked the season. So, I do like 97, I just feel like it's a little bit overhyped since we've been in an X-Men content drought for so long, and the content that we were getting just wasn't up to par or wasn't even good most of the time. I feel like this series is getting a lot more attention and a lot more love because of that. But that's why, if I'm not just singing all of its praises, that's why. So let's get into the good. I love the art style and the visual effects on the characters' moves. They all felt like they were handled with care and attention to detail. I think that the best was Nightcrawler's teleportation animation. It's so clean, so crisp. Nightcrawler is my favorite X-Men, so I'm biased here, but I thought everybody was handled really well. I had no issues there at all. I definitely really liked what they did. All the character models look on point as well. The fact that we had different outfits and Easter eggs all over the place made me really happy as well. Next point is I love the team up moves and scenes. Even though I still feel like Gambit and Wolverine's combo move would result in him blowing up, I do understand, according to the comics, that he's able to control how his explosions explode and in what area they explode instead of just blowing up Wolverine's entire skeleton. Yeah, the team up move's really cool. Gambit and Wolverines, Bishop and Cyclops, Wolverine and Nightcrawler, Morph and Wolverine. These are just the ones that stood out to me. But there was a lot of really cool moments throughout the series. These are the ones that really just made me smile as I was watching the TV screen. My favorite one is tied between Bishop with Cyclops and Nightcrawler with Wolverine's team up moves, or I guess with Nightcrawler, it wasn't really a move, it's more of a scene, but both of those moments really were cool. It really gave me a true feeling of camaraderie and teamwork that I really wanted the series to have. I mean, out of everyone, I feel like X-Men has the strongest, solidarity in a team in Marvel to me. Like, they were definitely always, or not always, but they were definitely majority on the same page and definitely came together more times than not. The last good point is something that really stood out to me, which was the cameos, but specifically the Morph cameos. I was super happy to see them turn into all these different characters and make such interesting moments and combos. And we just got a lot of cool opportunities from what Morph was able to do. One thing about Morph is when they turned into magic, they inadvertently show that there might be a lot more time that has passed between the last season and this current time. The reason I say this is because the last time we saw Magic, she wasn't Magic yet. She was in Russia with Colossus, I believe. She was still like a little girl or a teenage girl at this point. So she hadn't grown all the way into her character of Magic. So I think that this made me realize that we're in a time where Magic is already Magic. Morph knows her and knows her abilities well enough to replicate them. I'm not sure if they'll ever address this, but it's just something that I noticed that I thought was really cool. I loved all the cameos that were non-mutants as well, especially T'Chaka, Iron Man, and Spider-Man for me. Those are just some of my favorites. But I liked all of them, Cloak and Dagger, Daredevil, etc. All of them are really cool. So now let's get into the bad. For me, the voice acting just wasn't hitting. I know that they went out of their way to get a lot of the old voice actors to come back, but I felt like voice impersonators would have made for a much more authentic sound for the cast, especially for Wolverine. I also wasn't a fan of Magneto. I felt like Rogue was just okay, but it was definitely hit or miss. I wasn't a fan of the split episode with Jubilee's video game. I liked the video game references, but that's about it. I felt like there was a lot of forced romance in this episode between Forge, Storm, Jubilee, and Roberto. I really just felt like this episode could have been better utilized, especially considering how much of the other factors of the show needed to be rushed. This definitely could have been better utilized. The only thing we got from this really was Jubilee learning a special move, which she did use at the end. But I think, did we really need a whole half an episode to complete this like training that she did? I don't really think we needed that. Though I will say I am glad we got a Mojo cameo and his underling, whose name I forget. I just feel like we could have given greater importance to the episode if we were gonna spend this amount of time on it. Okay, so my final bad point is just that we got no Onslaught. For those who don't know who Onslaught is, he's basically the amalgamation of Magneto and Charles Xavier, and he is a threat. Even if we would have just gotten a glimpse of him during the time that Charles spent inside of Magneto's mind, I would have been okay with that. But it was just the fact that we got none of that I was just like, really? We had lots of people theorizing about it. So yeah, I just felt like it was a missed opportunity, even for just like a literal second of screen time. Now let's get into the ugly. Now there's quite a lot I have to say in this part. The way they did black characters was crazy. All the black characters were off the team by the end of episode 3. Bishop, a time traveling expert, loses an infant in the time stream? How? He had one job. Then we don't see him until after all the mayhem goes down. Like, you're a time traveler, bro. You could literally go to any literal point in the show, but you choose to show up at the end. A friend of mine and I were just recently talking, and it sounds like Bishop's voice was a little different. So maybe something happened with the voice actor, and maybe that's why we don't have as much Bishop in the show. If they admit that, then maybe I'll give it a pass. Maybe. But right now, I was not feeling that at all. Then Storm, I know her losing her powers was comic accurate, but the way they handled it was extremely weak. They didn't show any emotional gravity to this minus the moment she loses her powers, especially with the amount of depressed Cyclops that have been written over and over again every single time that we've lost Jean Grey. I think they could have made her story a lot more emotionally impactful. Then to have an unexplained sleep paralysis demon paired with unexplained magic and forced romance and a magical girl transformation like she was Sailor Moon, they missed the mark. They even portrayed her claustrophobia better in the 90s series. She didn't hardly react to being put in a situation that she needed to get over her claustrophobia for, while trying to get some magical plant to cure an unexplained illness, or I was gonna say illness and then I mixed that up with ailment, but yeah, it was like, and then she just had her hair did and getting the Amazon Prime same day delivery shipping outfit was crazy and whack to me. Just explain what was going on and give her some emotional depth, just like you gave Magneto, Cyclops, and Gambit all over the series. I've praised them for having well-written arcs in the good section just previously during this season, and it could have been a great moment if they just would have handled it with a little more care. The other issue that I have is with most people saying that this happened because the series was rushed. But like I said previously, how is it that we have time for Jubilee's little adventure, but we could have just given Storm her whole episode and given it a lot more depth? Also, this season made me hate Forge. He was weak and essentially like a coon. Building stuff to harm his own people is wild and irresponsible. Him falling in love with Storm without any explanation was crazy as well. I know that they date in the comics, that's not what I'm talking about, but just make it an actual believable romance. I don't know why this is so hard to do. Another ugly point is the humanoid Sentinels. I didn't like them. I felt like it was lazy and rushed. Having Nimrod come back as a tech organic being who infects a human and makes human Sentinel hybrid as a son didn't make any sense. Bastion was also a weak villain to me. The fact that humans were willing to become monsters to fight mutants was wild to me. I know that the point of this is to show how much the humans hate mutants, but it felt hypocritical to say the least. I understand that there was like a narrative there, but I just felt like it could have been better explored. Then again, I think that this has been properly explored now that I think of it, reflecting on the last episode with President or Senator Kelly and with Bastion saying how they don't want children like us. So you know what? Originally I was gonna say 7.5, but I'm gonna bump it up to an 8.5 out of 10. I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. It had a lot going for it, but the negative points definitely turned me off quite a bit. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I know most of you have recency bias, but feel free to let me know what you thought of this season, what you thought of my take, and have a great day. Y'all take care. King Quarry signing out. Peace.
You lose.
Oh man, I almost had a heart attack there.
You lose.
Don't you want a rematch? Don't give up. Challenge again.